All right, welcome back to Artistic Introvert, the show that dives into the heart of the artist, not just the art. Today's guest brings a melodic presence and lyrical honesty that cuts through the noise. Hailing from Washington, North Carolina, he's a rapper, singer, and storyteller who survived struggle and turned pain into purpose. You may know him from the 25 remix, right?
25 remix.
All right.
Yeah.
Either way, you're about to know him on a much deeper level. Please welcome P4L TRELL. How you, my guy?
I'm good, bro.
And you know what's crazy? I don't even shake hands. Like I do like that. Yeah.
Come on, bro.
I'm just saying, bro.
Gotta dab it up, bro.
How you though? You good?
Hey, bro, it's my birthday today.
I didn't even know that.
So
when I gave you that Red Bull,
I thought you was for real when you said that. I thought you knew what was. Hey,
I did. Happy birthday though, bro. How old you turn?
25. 25, bro.
That's where the 25 remix came from?
That's where the 25 remix came from, bro.
All right. Who is P4L TRELL? So TRELL, for people who are just tapping in, how do you describe your sound and your approach to music?
Man, my sound, bro, really started out where I started out. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the country, really. And, you know, in my family, I always had two different sides. They had the hood side, they had the country side. And, like, growing up and just being in certain situations, struggling and going through things, pain and depression, the certain things I went through, bro, it kind of just molded my sound into the point where, you know, and I'm still trying to figure out my my sound, but it gave me like a, when I first started putting out music, it gave me like a lane that I wanted to be in as far as like making pain music, making something that talks about something other than the stuff that people talk about. You know what I'm saying? People kind of group themselves in certain, you know, so I want to talk about everything and not just, you know, be in this box. And it's just growing up, it's just, that really just molded me and just meeting certain people and adapting. You know, when I was growing up, I went to different schools and it just, you know, at one point I went to this all white school and then I went to this, you know, all black school. So it's like just being around different environments and it just kind of molded me and gave me a mindset to just stick out and just be different.
Yeah, you know? Be yourself, 100%.
Be yourself.
You got this melodic edge and a real storytelling style. Who were your early influences, or did this come more from your personal experiences? I know you were still like kind of touching on that, but I feel like as you begin to go down the journey of creating music, I feel like obviously even when I've recorded you sometimes, it's like we can take a song that would have been initially rap, and you'd be like, hey, yo, Kelly, you think I should sing this? I'd be like, try it. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what I'm asking is like, what influenced your style? Was it listening to anybody, or was it just listening to yourself? You know what I'm saying? In a roundabout way. You
want to know what, bro? I feel like most artists pull from somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can still be original, but me personally, it was me finding and trying to craft my own sound, but I took influences from people like, you know, like some of my favorite artists to listen to were like Drake growing up, you know, Biggie. I like to listen to Tupac. I like a lot of old school.
Biggie said some wild stuff.
I ain't gonna lie, he said some wild stuff. But
he said some wild stuff.
But you know, I just try to like his cadences.
Have you ever liked the girl like he's like the girl?
Nah, bro.
Do you know what he said?
I know I know exactly.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
It's crazy. I was just talking to somebody about that earlier. But yeah, he said some wild stuff. But as far as like rap in general, like his cadences, the way he said his words, the flow, I just study stuff like that because it's like that's gonna help me as far as growing as an artist. But you know, I pull from people like that, but it's like I always try to just be like, Ty, just focus on building your own sound. Like no matter who inspires you, work on what sounds good to you and what feels good to you.
Facts. You find your own way pretty much. Talk about how being from Washington, North Carolina shaped your like worldview and your approach to music. It's a place with its own challenges. I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, you know, from you going to a predominantly white school to a predominantly black school.
The opposite, actually. Going from black to white.
Well, either way, both of them is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about ADHD later on in this interview.
We gotta touch on that.
But no, like how did it mold you in a way where I know I hear with your music sometimes, you know, some of the things that you touch on, but still some of it is, you know, you becoming, you maturing, you being a man, and then you kind of reflecting back on it. But like, the artist that you are now, you know, let's just say somebody coming from a pain place, they might want to just rap some gangster type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But with you, it's like, how did it mold your craft into you wanting to just be as original as possible? Did you see like a lot of people copying, or what was your perspective of things?
I feel like it's a little bit of that. Like a lot of people trying to be on the wave, and I feel like it just depends on like the purpose of you doing what you're doing. Like, are you trying to do it just to impress people, just to make money from it, just to do whatever? Or are you actually trying to tell a story and grow as a person? And like where I'm from, like, you know, I always said like it doesn't really define me as far as, you know, certain choices I made, certain stuff I was in. It's like, I feel like where you're from, that's gonna always be your roots.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? But you can always grow from that into something different.
You're meant to grow from your roots.
You're supposed to grow.
Crazy, yeah.
You're supposed to. So, you know, Washington, it's always home though. Like it's always home. But it's like, even in my music, I always tell people where I'm from. I'm proud of where I'm from.
Yeah, facts.
Because it shaped me, and you know.
Have you ever not been proud of where you're from? Like you know how people, I'm gonna tell you something. You ain't gotta ask somebody if they from New York. 9 times out of 10, they gonna say they from New York within the first 10 minutes of work. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I've felt like that, and not to put an impression on you, but more or less like I've felt like that sometimes where I joke with my wife where like I say I'm from Greenville, where I was born in Greenville. Then my mom got a house way out there in a place called Falkland, North Carolina, and I went to Farmville Central. And so I joke with her, she'd be like, I'd be like, you from Farmville? She'd be like, you from Farmville too? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm from Falkland. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a complete difference. So it's been times where I've wanted to be from somewhere bigger, as almost as if it added significance to me. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I get that we grow up and we kind of like, you know, it might be things about yourself that you may not have liked when you were younger, but you learn how to relish and love those things. Has where you came from ever been one of those things where you're like, I don't really, you know, if you're in a certain room, you might not want to say you're from Washington, North Carolina, or you might have been in a position where that was a thing. Has that ever been a thing for you?
Bro, it's crazy that you asked that, because I've never, no one's ever asked me that, but I've always been that type of person where, you know, like I said, the mindset I'm at now, I'm proud of where I'm coming from because it made me. But yes, I have. Like growing up, bro, like I used to think about like if I was in another room or if somebody asked me outside, I'm like, bro. If you say Washington, most people ain't even go. Washington D.C.
Right.
Like so it's like I've wanted to be a part of like a different city. Let's say because New York, that's one of my favorite places. Let's say New York, they have their own type of, you know, lingo. They have their own type of. They have everything, bro. Like, you know, dances. North Carolina has a little stuff too, but it's like I always wanted to be a part of something bigger, like somewhere bigger, New York, Cali, wherever it's at. And it's like, but I feel like at the end of the day, bro, it's like you can't choose where you know what I'm saying. You can't choose
where you were born at. That's part of your legacy.
That's part of it, bro. But you can always move and live somewhere else. I mean, but I've always, some people have asked me before, sometimes I hesitate before I say it, but I'm like, sometimes I just be like North Carolina. Like North Carolina, bro.
I feel that. Sometimes it's like that even with Greenville, but it's ironically enough, it's always going to be somebody in a position that's looking up to your position. So I always try to keep that in mind, because it might be somebody somewhere else that might be looking at, I got, you know, growing up, I got some people that kind of like stay way out there in the sticks, and they'd be like, oh, you stay in Greenville, that's a big city. I'm like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Bro, we got trees everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel where you coming from with that.
See, that's why I got to the mindset where I'm at now, because just for like what you just said, somebody just living in, let's say Farmville or let's say Tarboro, wherever it's at, somewhere small, it's like you want them to know that no matter where you at, you can still make it. Like it don't matter where you at.
I feel like that's one of those things you either grow into or grow out of, meaning it's people that are proud of where they're from, or it's people that I was watching, it's a junk called Jenny in Georgia, something's on Netflix or whatever. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
I watched it. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Hey, you watching the new season?
Yeah, I'm on it now. They got some heartbreaking stuff going on.
Bro.
Like, oh
that's
not, hey.
I don't care, bro. That's
no, facts. No, and that's the thing. I like stuff that got like a storyline. But she said something. She was like, her daughter was saying, I don't want to go to another school where nobody knows me. And she said,
Yeah.
you're looking at this all wrong, hun. You can be whoever you want to be when nobody knows you.
Right.
And I feel like that's the thing when it comes down to even your city or moving or anything like that. Like some people will stand on it and proudly say, I'm from so-and-so, or some people will move. I know people that will move and you could probably put them in an interrogation room. They're not going to say where they from.
I know people lie all the time.
Yeah, because they done got Hollywood. They did like, but it's like to each his own. I can't judge them for however they coping and doing whatever they're doing in life. So it's definitely a part of it. But one thing I respect about your music is that it doesn't feel fabricated. You've been through a lot, losing people, financial struggles, and it feels like those stories bled into your songs. Is music a therapy in a sense to you?
Bro, music is everything to me. Like
I felt that.
Like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro, it's like, you know how some people have, you know, they do certain things, meditation or whatever it is. I feel like music is like a meditation sometimes because some of the things that I couldn't get out, like out of my mouth, it's like I could write it. I could always write it down. And I got to the point, back then, I couldn't really write songs, but I always wanted to do music. I taught myself how to play piano, stuff like that. But when I really started writing, I started just pouring like my heart out on the page, bro. Like, and it's
Did you start with poetry first?
I love poetry too.
I feel like every rapper that like rap kind of like how I'll even put myself in that category, like how me and you do. They started with poetry, and I was deep into some poetry.
Deep
like,
into poetry,
running
bro.
Running my arms like the waves trickle down the beach's sand. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to do some crazy stuff.
It's all connected though.
Yeah, facts.
Poetry's connected.
But no, not to interrupt. That was a very curious question because it's like I don't feel like artists that are coming up now have the same route that a lot of the artists of our generation. And you always talk about me like I'm old head because whatever. But overall, just even with your grassroots, just knowing like, all right, cool, you still come up with a similar background. A lot of the newer artists, I'll say, they start off with BandLab on their phone, and it's pretty much mimicking whatever they're hearing and whatever is hot. And so
there's a word you said though.
What's that?
Fabricated.
Yeah, facts.
That's what it is.
Facts, and that's a part of the process. I feel like a lot of them, which is where if you listen to things like my homeboy Kane was letting me hear something the other day. He was like, "Hey, bro, I ain't gonna say no names, but who this sound like?" And off the top, it was a upcoming artist. However, it wasn't anybody around here. Let me just won't throw a shade on that, but when I listened to it, it sounded like 3 artists off the top of my head. And I realized, well, these artists probably listen to the same thing that this artist listens to. And they don't realize, like, bro, you start picking up these habits. That's why I tell artists, and I told you this, if you want to learn how to sing, listen to some really good singers. So what becomes common for you is like, it's going to be, what's excellent now becomes common for you. I should rephrase that. So you listen to somebody like LMA. I like her beats and stuff and her production. So I listen to it. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I know what is decent for me is this sound. And so even though I may not know how to do it yet, I know when I'm doing this and it doesn't sound like that, it's like, okay, cool, I'm not doing the right thing.
But it's like, especially with the singing thing, it's like, that's more work, bro. Like, you gotta really like study, not just listen to other people. You gotta, I look at all these different type of videos of just working on the diaphragm, working on different parts that you're supposed to use. Like, it's
ongoing. It doesn't stop. It's like once you learn one thing, you can learn something else. And I feel like that's with anything. I feel like that's almost, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but like some of the smartest people are the most miserable. And that's because they know so much that they can't relax. And I've been like that at some times where I was like, bruh, I'm just about to chill. And I feel like that's how it is with singing, where it's a certain level where people get to a point where they technically are not singing for enjoyment anymore. If you go too far with it, and then in that case you might as well be a teacher. Because you ain't even singing to produce or write or create or anything.
You gotta have a passion for it too.
And to know what you're sharpening your tool for, pretty much. You mentioned your opening to talking about mental health and industry pressure. Those are like some real topics. How do you keep your mind right while navigating the game? And I know we've touched base on it in the sessions, and that's where Artistic Introvert came about. I was talking to my guy Bando. He got an upcoming project or whatever, and he was asking about the interview stuff. I was like, bro, it's essentially what I do during sessions. You know, right now we'll like boom, chop it up or whatever, and it's always me trying to multitask. So like it might be loading the track or whatever, because I'm always mindful of like where y'all are or what the time is. But just in general, like when it comes down to navigating all of this, and we've talked about the pressures of making music that's 100% that's originally yours. And it's not that you're scared to do it, but when you do what you want to do because you want to do it and you're putting something out there to be judged, sometimes that judgment alone will have you judging yourself and be like, should I try something else?
That's real, bro. Like even like me, and like I said, you know, we have sessions all the time where we talk about like, because as a matter of fact, my most recent session, it was hard for me to lock in, you know, and it's like I've been trying to find that balance of like even like the suggestion you pitched to me about like just having a playlist, like that even helps me, you know. I just feel like finding balance and finding that peace to where you can come in here and you can just turn it on, because you can try to just come in here just turn it on like that, but you gotta be like seasoned to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still up and coming.
Right.
So it's like I really have to like take the time outside of this and do certain things where you know, listen to a playlist. I even started meditating, bro. Like doing certain stuff to just help me, because my brain just it works real fast. So it's like I gotta slow it down sometimes, and even coming in here, bro, it still be kind of hard to like lock in. So I really had to like be telling myself like, bro, like I'm overthinking it more than anything, because you can psych yourself out if anything. Like
I feel like it's fine. Like I think you said it, like finding that balance. Like so on the other side, on the engineering side, it's two things where I can hear where you're overthinking, and then I can hear where it's not even like that you gave up, but you might run through something and you're like, whatever that sounded like, it's about to be fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's more or less like, I'm just trying to go through the motions type of thing. And then it's sometimes and I always make sure I acknowledge this. When you kill something or whatever, like, bro, that was good. You did really, really good on that. Because we acknowledge all the other things. I want to make sure that I acknowledge that as well. So just finding that balance of just staying locked in. But that's more or less like a battle with yourself. I'm stating that to ask you this. So have you felt, I wouldn't even say industry, because I feel like that's such a broad word, right? A broad topic. I'll say social media. I'll say how you've been promoting and putting out songs and stuff like that, and maybe you haven't gotten the response back that you thought that you should get. You know, has that shaped your music? Has that made you hesitant to put out this song or that song or whatever the case may be? How has that felt to you?
You know, bro, like when I was like first putting out songs and stuff, I was more that really kind of bothered me a little bit, as far as like I was like already trying to figure out how I'm gonna piece together stuff, because I'm independent, trying to figure stuff for myself. And I was always worried about when I put it out, like the feedback. And I got to this place now where I understand that everybody has different tastes. I understand that just because you put something out and it doesn't get the feedback that you want, it doesn't mean that it's not good. Like sometimes you got like, it's promotion goes into it. It's a business side of the music industry, of course. Like that's a major portion of it. So it's like, I really like now I just tell myself to just put the content out, put it out. Like I've been putting out like a lot of videos, different type of, and not just music, like just different type of content, explaining my background of, you know, things I'm trying to do, telling a story. Like you don't want to just put stuff out, and even if I don't care if it gets 2 likes, bro. Like, you got to put it out for people to see it, and you know all the other stuff is gonna come after that. As far as finding out how to market it, promote it, doing whatever you got to do.
And I feel like it's all about. You said something that kind of sparked, and I've been there too. I've been there whether it's been with the business. I know when I first started Media Majors, I had this idea in mind that I'm about to get all these college kids. I was not getting college kids, still am not getting college kids. I'm getting people that got a dream and a vision. And for a little bit, I kept overlooking what my normal customer or client base was, because I was seeking after what I thought should be mine already. And I start realizing like, bro, that's disrespectful to the people that are coming to me. So I also understood like sometimes you got to market like a different way. It's like you're trying to, let's say you're going to have more success selling weight loss supplements in front of a gym instead of setting up in front of a McDonald's. You feel what I'm saying?
That's a good example.
So I was trying to come up with one a while ago, and a lot of them
spot
was
on.
off.
I ain't
I
gonna
was
lie.
like, you wouldn't be a barber in front of a chemo shop. I was like, nah, they're gonna touch on some stuff. But anyway, yeah. So like, selling weight loss supplements in front of a gym instead of like McDonald's. The same person can go to each place, and let's just say you stopped after you went in front of McDonald's, you feel like, dang, this supplement ain't good. You're not diagnosing the problem. Honestly, you're not a good salesperson when it comes down to it. So there's always a solution. To me, I'm a seller by heart, and I sell based off of, honestly, I use things that are really, really real, like anything. So I touch on the passion, I touch on the emotion, and then I also touch on basically what would I want. How do I seek value, or how do I seize value in certain things? And so when it comes down to it, like, that's what marketing is, and that's what promotion is. And so when it comes down to like even releasing your music, the hardest thing for you to do, honestly, is keep going. But Kevin Hart said something real. Kevin Hart said, what keeps me getting up is every time I fall, I look around and see how many other people have stopped at the level that I'm at. And it makes me realize that if I keep going, it's going to be even fewer on the next level. And every
That's
level
real,
you go
bro.
up, it's going to be fewer and fewer people. And so that's kind of where you just keep going.
It's about who want it more, bro.
Facts.
Because it's like I feel like a lot of people that try to do something, they keep doing it, and they stop at a certain point. The time that you stop, that could be the time that you can have a breakthrough after that.
No, facts. And
you know what I'm saying?
It's always that what if. I've been killing the stock market lately, and I beat myself in the head today. So I had two back-to-back $500 days. It was like 480 and 460, right? And I was like, oh shoot. So then today I went in to trade the same exact stock, and I was blinded by my success that I had the previous days. So I'm day trading, but I'm day trading with an account that, I know this sounds like some boring stuff, but it all has a purpose. But I'm day trading with an account.
I've been trying to get into stocks.
Bro, it's
a headache, I know.
Research stocks and then look into it. Enough of us aren't looking into it. But anywho, so I'm looking at all the signals. I'm looking at all the things that I've taught myself, but there's a certain FOMO, that fear of missing out, where it's like, I see this junk shooting up, so I hurry up and buy into it. And even when it starts, like, and I actually got it to the point where I was up a little bit in profit, but because the day before, it was like I walked out initially with like I sold my shares at a level where I made $100, and then I sat back and I watched, and it kept going up and up and up, and I would have easily been over $1,000 that day. What I did though, I sit back, I analyzed, and I saw it where it's about to it did a pullback, and it was about to go back up. So I bought some more when it dropped back down a little bit and went back up, and I eventually had a $500 day. However, I tried to have that same approach with today, but the market is different. And especially on Friday, the market is closed on the weekends. So just even trading that in a certain way made me realize, like, bro, like, just that fear of missing out, it can mess you up. It can have you thinking something that's actually not going on. And I feel like that's kind of where music can kind of come into play too, where it's like you want that instant gratification. So a lot of times people will do something that's not even really them. You know what I'm saying? And they fall into that same category when it comes down to it.
See, that falls back into doing something that's like not you. You know what I'm saying? Trying to fit in and do things, because there's artists that's made it.
Yeah.
But they're not true to what they're talking about, or like their sound is just like fabricated. It's just to make sales and stuff. It all goes back to what you're doing it for, bro. Like
it's finding your why and sticking with it.
Finding your why.
So I can answer this, but I want to hear it from you. What's a typical day in the studio look like for you? Are you the type to lock in for hours, or catch it in moments? So I know for a fact you've caught it in moments, right? Where you're like, bruh, I just wrote this song today, and I was like, I got to get in the studio. And then it's also been times where I've seen you've booked a 3-hour session and you kind of like fumble and find your way through. And I feel like that was a part of refining your sound. So based off of that, let's just say, because I know you do both, which one do you feel like you lean a little bit more towards?
I lean a little bit more towards like just trying to really start off good, because I feel like if I start off good, then it's kind of, I could be consistent.
Yeah.
But it just goes back to, even, it was like this one session I had, I talked about this with you the other day, about, it was just this one bar.
Yeah.
And
we kept doing
we recorded this bar the whole
session,
time, bro. And it's like, sometimes you have to realize that every day is not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
every day is not going to be as smooth as you want it to be.
Yeah.
But I really like the thing I've learned since coming here. It's like just really, even those days that I have that are kind of bad, like you're always like, keep going, bro. Like just keep doing. Because sometimes, you know, if I'm messing up, I'm not into it, I'll just stop like right in the middle of saying whatever. And it's like, that's the key thing, just to keep going. Like even if you're not having a bad day, just keep going. You can listen to it after, see what you need to correct, or whatever it is. But it's like booking like three hours, whatever it is. Like, bro, like if I'm booking a certain time, I just try to really like lock in so I can get my money's worth, really.
Facts,
you know, and just make sure I'm creating what I want to create. Because sometimes I'll try to rush it and be like, okay, that's okay. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
go ahead, let me send that to me. Yeah,
just send it to me, like.
Yeah.
And like I just really have to tell myself, because like I said, I'm an overthinker and I overthink stuff. I got to tell myself to chill and just really, like, because I'll even tell you this, like, I'll sing something before I even come to the studio and work on something, and I'll get here sometimes, and when I'm putting it into the mic, and I'm hearing this, like,
man, this ain't what it sound. It don't sound the same.
It don't sound the same.
Yeah.
So it's finding the balance.
Yeah.
That's finding your balance and making sure that you just really nail what you're trying to do. And even if you don't, like, just making sure that you know that you can always correct it. You can always take your time with it, come back, do it again, be fresh.
I feel like, and just in you saying that, right, it just kind of gave me a whole different perspective. So I feel like artists should have like a mixture of both, right? Meaning like, so say for instance, it's just like let's just say a car, right? Where you have the times where you just go in and you do like a simple tune-up, right? And then you got the times where, okay, I need to go in, I need to get my brakes, I need to get my oil, my windshield wipers, my air filter, all of that. So you got the times where it's like, all right, this ain't just no little simple tune-up. I need to make sure everything is running properly. That's how I feel like studio sessions are as well. Sometimes you have those maintenance, meaning you're just like, let me just book me an hour so I can get in there, get this off my chest, stay, you know, in a great space, and then keep it moving. Then you got other times where I'm about to book a 3-hour session because I got something got to give. You know what I'm saying? I got to get this out. So I do feel like it's a good mixture of both, though.
And it also depends on what you want your final product to be.
Yeah, facts.
Because like you had explained to me, mixing and mastering. It's a world. It's really like you take a car to the car wash. You know, you get the basics, but the master is like when you put the wax on it.
Detail.
You get the detail. So it depends on what.
And that's the best way I can always say it, because I feel like mixing and mastering gets thrown away so freely that it's like, bro, I'm like, and I don't break it down to every single artist because it would be too time consuming. But that's the best metaphor or analogy that I can use.
That's what really helped me.
It's like all right, cool. Like, all right, bro, we just washing the car. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we want to go in here and we want to take and get like a little cotton swab and get under the gear shifter and all that other stuff, like, yeah, we can do details, and that's essentially what mastering is, getting it to its peak performance.
See, I realize I'm like, you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Like I feel like mastering is like the industry level. Like,
Yeah,
that's
facts.
how you know.
And this is the thing, if you're not putting the song out, this is what a lot of artists, I feel like, kind of get mixed up, because music itself, I'm not lost at the fact that it actually costs a lot to record, master. Everybody wants money from the artist. Everybody. Videographers, everybody wants money from the artist. Nothing is free. And so a lot of times what I try to do is pack a lot into whatever I do. So whatever, like if it's a studio session, I want to make sure that when you're having the session, I can also give you this information where you can run with it. When we're doing like this right here, we're going to chop this down. You about to have some short stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Get your content going. It's not just me doing an interview. Hey, go check this out. It's like making sure that I pack that in there. But for artists, I feel like, you know, you got to know, you can't just always go with what's popular. I was having a conversation with an artist and they were just talking about, yeah, I'm about to pay for a promo. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And they paying for it to get on blog pages. And I was like, that's cool. But for the same, no. They were asking about opening up at, what was it? It's a show. It's my guy, gosh, what's buddy name? He's over Cash. He's managing Cash and stuff. But he was asking me about Apple Chill. That's what it was. He was asking me about Apple Chill, and I was honest and about the results that we got. So when I first opened Media Majors, I had a platform artist named Cash Addison, and what we did with Cash was we were basically showing the power that Media Majors has. So Cash basically we push him, and on the other side, while we're pushing him, they're like, "Dang, who behind his sound?" And it was like, it was mutually beneficial on both ends. So one of the things we did was we signed him up for Apple Chill. This is not bashing Apple Chill. It is what it is. But
what's Apple Chill?
Apple Chill is basically like a music festival to a certain extent. And they have it, I forgot which town, I think it's Greensboro or something like that. So it's just they get celebrities to come out there, and what they do is they'll have artists come out there and open up for the celebrities. I think Lucci performed that year and somebody else or whatever. But we didn't get much out of it. Meaning, like, we paid, I think it was like $1,500, somewhere around there. The numbers is off, I apologize. I just don't remember, it was years ago. And when we got to the gate, Cash had to pay, we had to pay for Cash to get in, and we had to pay for ourselves to get in. Meaning, we paid for him to perform, but when we got to the gate, we actually had to pay for admission as well. Which was crazy to me. Maybe they do that in bigger cities. If I'm lost, I'm lost. Y'all let me know. However, that was just throwing me. I'm like, bro, we done, whatever. I'm like, huh? I done called my mans up, and he like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a money pit. It's a money pit. They really trying to recoup from the upcoming artists what they spent to get the other artists there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, okay, cool.
It's all about the money, bro.
It makes sense business-wise. I'm a businessman, but it also lets me still clear certain things.
Yeah.
So I said, for the same money that you would spend on doing something like that, opening up, if you look into social media marketing such as Facebook, Instagram, or something like that, and run targeted ads, you're going to get probably 300 times the results that you would ever get from that.
Telling you, bro.
And that's where it is. And a lot of artists don't look into that.
That's one thing I'm finding out now, because I'm trying to, that's something that I've been working on lately as far as putting out targeted ads and stuff, and it's showed me results. Like, it's there's some stuff that's promotion, and it's really not. It's like bots. And it's not even. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got
it. Whatever. I was talking to my family about this. After I had my successful days in the market, like I was telling them, I showed them my, I had a good day, then I had another good day, and they was like, well, what stocks did you look up? I said, well, I didn't trade a specific stock. I looked at a certain type of stock. So it has to be, has to have a certain amount of volume. It has to have gone up at least over 5% for that day. So it's already moving, already has momentum. It has to be breaking news out about it, right? So the moment somebody asks you, they really just asking for the results that you got, but they're not asking for the work that you put in. And that's one thing I'm learning about when it comes down to social media marketing as well, is because everybody just wants the numbers, but artists don't realize that you can do the same thing, if not better, but you just got to do a little bit of homework. You got to have a YouTube playlist where you can go through and say, okay, cool, this is how I do Facebook marketing. This is how Instagram works. This is the algorithm of TikTok, and then have those things placed together. But no, they just want to say, I got 20,000 followers on my Instagram page, which is cool, but it's two types of people in the world. You got sellers and you got buyers. And when you do that, you now become a buyer. And you're going to run into a seller like me. You know what I'm saying? And the sellers always going to have more money than the buyers. No matter what market you in, the sellers are always going to have more money than the buyers, bro. And so that's the thing.
People just want to have the numbers. They just want people to see.
They don't even want the know-how.
They don't want to. I've been trying to be a student of the game, like researching stuff, using every platform. When you use every platform to your advantage, it's like, bro, you can promote, you can do all these different type of things. You don't have to go outside and do all this other stuff, like outside sources. Social media, especially TikTok, that's like the number one trending app to use. Like,
and that's so iffy too, because I posted something on TikTok and it got 0 views, and 0. And then I posted something on it and it got 3,000. You gotta
keep posting, bro.
Yeah, you're right. It's an afterthought because it's a newer platform for me, and it's not I don't be on social media like that. As much as I, for the results that I want, I would need to be up there more, and I understand that. So I'm okay with not getting. I'm okay with not being like super popular on social media, to be honest.
I think some people post every single day.
Every day, 3 times a day. Not
3 times a day.
That's my advice. I've learned that, and then I know. So it's been times like even on the Media Majors page, I know that when I post, I know what the business looked like. I know what it looks like when I don't post. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, we posted. You know what I mean? So we're gonna keep it that way.
Right.
But we like to flip it and keep it fun. So what's something random about you that fans might be surprised to learn besides your ADHD? I think that's
obvious, bro. Like, something. What you say? What was say the question again?
Speaking of ADHD,
yo,
what's something random about you that fans might be surprised to learn?
Something random about me. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I'm the most random person you could probably meet. Like, I do a lot of something random about me. I like being in nature. I like being in nature. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like,
so are you like a sleep on the ground nature type of guy, or if you sleeping outside, you gotta have a tent. You gotta have bug spray. You gotta have all this, because it's different levels of nature.
It may be scratching it.
I'm country, but it's stuff I've realized when I got older. So I'm like, bro,
there's levels to it,
that, bro. What are you talking about?
Me, bro. Like, it's not even that. Like, when I'm in nature, for example, I walk on this trail every single day after work, bro, and it's like a trail that it has like water, it has trees, it has stuff, benches and stuff.
Yeah.
And I basically go out there, I walk, reflect. While I'm walking, I'm thinking of music, thinking of raps, thinking of stuff. And I just sit on the bench sometimes, bro. I just literally meditate right there, just focus on my breathing, just clear my mind. And it's like the most like, I might sound like a lot of people listen to it probably like think bro, it's the most peaceful. Crazy. It's the most peaceful thing I ever done, bro.
I don't think you like nature. I think you like parks. Now I put it like this. I would say you like nature if you was like, yeah, bro. Every now and then I go to the Amazon rainforest. I look for beetles to save. You know what I'm saying?
When I say nature, I'm just saying like, I like the sun, the birds, being in the trees.
That
like,
makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm the same way. I like
outside, I guess.
Yeah, I like because outside is a completely different thing too. Because we can go outside right here and this ain't nature. It smells like smog outside. Like, no, I'm good on that. But no, that's fire. I thought, because I call myself country, which I am. Then my guy, no, boom, I'm about to show you something. So my guy Polk, right? He had been asking me for years, like, when we're going deer hunting, right? And I'm a busy guy. But I've learned, like, I got to start making time to learn who I am as well. So I was like, I don't know, bro. We're going to see. So then eventually, bro done boiled down to like, well, we can go squirrel hunt. And I was like, oh, shoot, well, we can figure that out. We can squirrel hunt. You know what I'm saying? My dude's got squirrels everywhere, right? So boom. Long story short, we go hunting. You know what I mean? Boom, pop a squirrel right in the head. Ping. You know what I'm saying? So this is the funny thing. This is where you realize who's country and who's savage, right? Okay, so I go and he was like, all right, you ready to prep him? I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I go get knives. I come back with latex gloves, grocery bags and everything, right?
None of that.
And I put it on the bench. We were outside on the back there. I put it on the bench right there. And I was like, bro, some gloves and stuff right there. He said, You know what I'm saying? Raw hands.
He dove right in.
Hey, then look, he taking everything and he was like, look, some squirrel nuts. And then so I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying?
But that's full blown country.
Popping cutting the heads off. I was like, no, buddy, real deal.
I see people cutting deers, guts and stuff.
Boy, I didn't know what you were talking about right there. He sounded crazy. But no, so yeah. I ate squirrel for the very first time. It was busting. I call it tree chicken. Chicken.
But they say everything tastes like chicken.
No, bro.
They say frog legs taste like chicken.
They probably do.
It ain't taste like chicken.
I know what don't taste like chicken. Chitlins. They taste like I ain't gonna
lie, bro.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, look, bro. God. Put some hot sauce and vinegar on them things. Hey, bro.
Bro, I got an aunt Deborah, bro. She probably ain't never gonna see this. Her kids might. I love my family. Bro, we used to go out there every Thanksgiving, and she stayed in like I think it was like it was a double wide trailer, I believe. And trailers are so compact. Bro, I would wake up and I would have to put my head under the pillow so I wouldn't smell the chitlins. Like she'd be cleaning. I would just go outside and just lay on the ground just so I didn't have to smell it, bro. Like nobody knows this. This is like an exclusive. Bro, I cannot stand chitlins, bro.
The smell, I ain't gonna lie. The smell is terrible, bro.
Being black makes you like have to feel like you gotta like chitlins, bro. I don't like chitlins, bro.
Man.
I don't. Y'all here,
I was around it for so long, man.
Y'all can have my black card. I don't like chitlins, bro. I'm good on that. That's ridiculous, bro.
Hey, look, bro.
But black people are resilient because we took the scraps that they gave us and we made something about. But we not there no more, bro. We're not there no more.
At a family get together, bro, you gonna see some chitlins somewhere.
You is, and they gonna go to somebody else's
somebody.
plate. Bro, even the texture of them when you really think about it, bro, that's crazy.
I don't think about that though.
You better think about
when I'm eating, I'm just like, okay, it got a good taste to it.
Yeah, that's a fun fact you should have shared. He was like, I don't even think about what I'm eating.
That's what I need to start doing. Smelling it and looking at the texture.
Oh my God, chitlins is crazy. When they clean it, when you really realize, like, I heard them saying cleaning, I'm thinking like cleaning chicken. No, bro, they get
really
shit out of it.
It's basically what
it's the intestines.
Yeah. Intestines, yeah.
It's shit.
We got some good intestines though.
Oh my God. There's nothing else on this planet. If you smelled it and it smelled like that, you're like, let me get that.
But see, if I went off my smell, I wouldn't eat them.
That's disgusting, brother. We about to close it out. Big salute to P4L TRELL for pulling up and keeping it real with us.
Sir.
Make sure y'all run up the streams on 25 Remix. And it is out already, correct?
It's already out,
making
man.
sure.
Out.
And follow him at P4L_TRELL and check out the link tree for everything he's got coming next. You already know this is Artistic Interview. Artistic Introvert. I had like 3 things going on in my head right here.
You talking about me, ADHD?
Right. No, my mind.
Hey.
Trail. This is Artistic Introvert, where we don't just hear the music, we get to know the person behind it. Till next time, peace, love, and stay creative.